I think most people view emotion as this incomprehensible force that comes from nowhere and that we have no control over. But the truth is, emotion is tangible and we can trace where our emotions come from and then use that knowledge to our advantage. So first, what are emotions? Emotions are physiological reactions to stimuli that can then motivate actions. To compare it to something we understand a bit better, let's take food for an example. Let's say you see and smell a big juicy burger, and as a result, you get hungry. Your mouth waters. Your scope of focus narrows to the burger and not much else. You start thinking things like, boy, that's a good looking burger. I bet it tastes real good. And then you eat the burger. In this example, the stimulus is the burger and the physiological reaction was the sensation of hunger and your mouth watering and your mind only being able to focus on food, and then it motivated you to eat the burger. Now let's say you see someone breaking into your car. Your heart rate and breathing quickens. Your body releases hormones like cortisol and adrenaline. The blood in your body redirects away from your organs like your intestines and toward your muscles in preparation for physical exertion. Your body temperature increases, your mind shuts out all thoughts other than the man stealing your car, and you have thoughts like, you son of a bitch, you think you can steal my car? I'm going to kick your ass. These physical feelings and thoughts then motivate you to kick the guy's ass. The emotion I'm describing is anger, of course. The stimulus is seeing the guy trying to steal your car, and the response is that long list I provided that includes changes in thoughts as well as physical effects. The combination of those things motivated the action of physically disabling the man from being able to steal your car. Notice how a lot of what's going on with emotion is so physical. Hormones, blood flow, it's all in your body. To me, this is huge. Generally, the more I understand something, the better I feel about it and the more prepared I feel to deal with it. And knowing that emotions are not this ethereal, intangible thing, but rather physical things going on in your body makes me feel like it's possible to understand and to control. Something to keep in mind is it doesn't have to be an external stimulus that causes emotions. It can be internal, as our thoughts can affect our moods as well. But there's a missing link here. When we see food, we get hungry because our mind is wired to prevent starvation. But what does the wiring look like when it comes to our emotions? Which emotions we feel when responding to stimuli depends on our values and beliefs. So first, what are values? Values are things, concepts, and people that are important to us. Another way of thinking of it is things that provide us value. For example, I value my computer, which is a physical possession. It allows me to create things like these videos. I can play games on it and I can access the internet. By enabling me to do these things, my computer is providing value to me. Also, I spent a lot of money on it, so I value my investment. I value honesty and always telling the truth. I value my girlfriend because I think she's a great person and I feel happy when I'm with her. So then what are beliefs and how are they different from values? Beliefs are things you think are true. If you can make a statement that sounds like you could argue whether it's true or false, then it's a belief. For example, the reason I value honesty is because of the belief that being dishonest creates bigger problems down the road than the immediate problem it is trying to solve, as well as the idea that telling the truth is always the moral thing to do even if it causes pain or discomfort. We can argue whether those statements are true or not all you want, but we'll never be able to prove or disprove those statements because they're both subjective. But beliefs can be based on things that are objective, like the earth is flat, the majority of the population of the United States is white, the rates of autism in children of vaccinated parents are higher than those of unvaccinated parents. It doesn't have to matter to you for you to believe it. I don't really care about the earth is round because it doesn't really affect my life, but I care about other people knowing this instead of believing the earth is flat because I value truth and knowledge. And then if I want to extrapolate further, I can say I value truth and knowledge because I believe the more knowledgeable people are about the truth, the better off we are. Notice how we can trace our values to our beliefs. Many times, if not all, there's a belief acting as the backbone to our values. I wouldn't value my computer if I believed it to be a subpar piece of hardware. I wouldn't value honesty if I didn't believe it was moral or that it helps mitigate future problems. And I wouldn't value my girlfriend if I believed she was a shitty person. So to summarize those 2 points quickly, beliefs are things we believe are true and values are things that are important to us, and usually we value certain things because of a belief we hold. So now that we know this, we can understand why we react certain ways to certain things. Going back to to the example of the car thief, we can deduce that the person serving as the subject of our example considers his car important because it enables transportation, which is a valuable ability, which that person believes is necessary in order to make a living. So when he sees someone trying to take away what he values, his body responds in a way that is going to motivate him to protect what he values. You can almost think of your brain choosing how to respond like a computer running an algorithm. Instead of a user inputting information, a stimulus is perceived by the mind. Instead of a computer referencing a database stored in a hard drive, the mind references values and beliefs that are made up by stored memories. Instead of the computer outputting a number on the screen, the mind outputs physiological changes. The pseudocode for how the mind might work could look something like this. First, the input. A man is stealing our car. The first step in the algorithm would be, when input is received, search the database to find a belief or value that this is related to. Was a belief or value found that matches the situation? If no, do nothing. If yes, refer to this value or belief as a criteria to base future decisions on. Then, is what is happening beneficial? If yes, initiate happy protocol. Else, is what's happening threatening the safety of the belief or the thing that we value? If yes, initiate scared protocol. Else, is what's happening hurtful and is it out of our control at this time? And do we require time to process what happened and what we can do about it so we can come out the other end still intact? If yes, initiate sad protocol. Else, have we been wronged or harmed and can it be corrected? If yes, initiate angry protocol. Else, are we about to receive something we value or believe is good? If yes, initiate excited protocol. Else, do we feel like we are loved? If yes, initiate tender protocol. Else, an error has occurred, run the algorithm again. Now, I'm no computer programmer, so my pseudocode is probably horrible, and to be honest, I don't think I understand the roles of emotions completely, so the descriptions I gave of the criteria of why your mind would choose a certain emotion over the other may not be accurate, but you get the idea, right? Evolution has created a set of responses and an algorithm that determines which of those responses are the most appropriate based on an input and then referencing information stored in your head. This also explains why people react differently to the same situations, because every person has different beliefs and values on the same things because they have different experiences with that same thing. Problems arise when this algorithm does not choose an appropriate response to help with the situation, and that can happen for a number of reasons. Maybe the value or belief that the response is based upon is not true or helpful and the algorithm is making decisions based on bad data. Maybe we are misinterpreting the stimulus and think one thing is happening when it's actually another. During the sad phase of the algorithm, I was trying to fit in another line of pseudocode that said, search the database for things we know we can do to help the situation. And then after the search finds nothing, then it initiates sad protocol. But what if the database is incomplete or wrong and there is something we can do but we don't realize? However, probably the most important thing is the fact that humans do something that computers don't, which is automate responses. When you tell a computer to calculate something, it's going to go through all the steps every single time. However, the more humans do the same thing over and over, the more automatic it becomes to us. For the sake of efficiency, the brain will skip steps and go from A to Z. After all, if we've done this multiple times and the result is always the same, why bother running the calculation when we know what the answer is already? The problem is sometimes we automate bad responses, or we automate responses that used to be useful but are not anymore. In order to change our behaviors, we will need to turn on the part of our brain that thinks things through and bypass the automatic part, but this can be extremely difficult if the behavior is deeply ingrained. And then on top of that, humans can make mistakes. We miscalculate things. I don't think computers are capable of making mistakes unless it's somehow damaged. Most of the time when a computer makes a mistake, it's because the person programming it made a mistake when writing its code. I would like to say that I have a video about how to rewire your brain, but that's still something that I'm working on myself. Until I feel confident about giving advice on that subject, I might make videos about the techniques I've been using to change my thoughts and behaviors and how well they've been working out for me. However, I do have a few ways of finding what your beliefs and values are, so that'll be in the next video. I hope this video has helped you, and remember, I'm just some guy trying to be better.